You've seen them, right? All those ads and articles online promising you can drop weight super fast. But you gotta wonder, is any of it for real? Well, today we are going to pull back the curtain and decode the science behind those big claims. Let's dive in.
I mean, look at this. This is the kind of thing that grabs you. A promise that you can lose up to 2.2 pounds and maybe even a couple of inches off your waist in just 1 week. But really, how is that even possible?
And that's the big question, isn't it? When that number on the scale drops like a rock, what is it that's actually leaving your body? That's the mystery we're going to solve right now.
Okay, so let's take a look at one of the diets that makes these kinds of promises. It's called the Abraham diet, and its whole selling point is just how simple it is. The big idea? You use your own hands to measure your food. That's it. So here's the system for each of your 3 meals a day. You get 1 portion of starchy carbs about the size of your fist, a piece of lean protein the size of your palm, and a big cupped handful of veggies. See? No calorie counting, no complicated rules, just your hands as a guide. Now, on top of the hand portions, it's all about clean eating. So that means you're cutting out things like processed foods and sugary snacks, and you're focusing on whole foods. You also get a couple of thumb-sized portions of healthy oil, 2 fist-sized bits of fruit for snacks, and you can even have a little skimmed milk. And here is the real kicker. According to the source, people saw these results without adding a single extra workout to their week. No extra gym time, no running, nothing. That makes it sound incredibly appealing, especially if you have a crazy busy schedule. So let's recap. You've got a super simple system, you get amazing results, and you don't even have to exercise. It sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it? There has to be a catch. So what is it?
And that brings us to the most important part of this whole puzzle. You have to understand the huge difference between losing weight and losing fat. They are absolutely not the same thing, and this is the key to everything.
Let me break it down. Weight loss is just the number on the scale going down, but that number includes everything: fat, muscle, and the big one, water. Fat loss, on the other hand, is what people actually want. It means you're specifically getting rid of body fat while trying to keep your muscle. One is fast but kind of misleading, the other is slower, but it's the real deal.
So why does the scale move so darn fast at the beginning of these diets? Well, it all comes down to this one simple number: 3 grams. You see, for every 1 gram of carbohydrate your body stores for energy, it also hangs on to about 3 grams of water.
And that, my friends, is the secret. When you suddenly slash your carb intake, your body starts burning through those stored carbs for fuel. And when the carbs go, all that water they were holding on to gets flushed right out. So that amazing 10 pounds you lost in 2 weeks, a huge chunk of that was probably just water. Okay, so if that quick initial drop is mostly just water, what actually causes real, lasting fat loss? Well, it all boils down to one single, unbreakable law of physics: the calorie deficit. This is it. This is the only non-negotiable requirement for losing fat. All it means is that you're eating fewer calories than your body is burning. When that happens, your body needs to get energy from somewhere, so it starts burning its own stored body fat. Simple as that. And this is so important to understand. You hear a lot of people say that low-carb diets work because of some special metabolic trick with insulin. But the reality is much simpler. When you just cut out an entire food group like carbs, you naturally tend to eat fewer calories overall. So yes, low-carb works, but it's because it's a really effective way to create a calorie deficit. The deficit is doing the heavy lifting, not some magic carb-free effect. So, knowing that the calorie deficit is the real goal, let's look at another super popular method: intermittent fasting. Think of it not as a new rule, but just as a different tool to get you to the exact same place. Dr. Sethi has some great tips for getting started. First, just ease into it. Start with a 12-hour fast and a 12-hour eating window. Second, when you're fasting, stick to things with 0 calories, like water, black coffee, or tea. And third, when it's time to eat, go for foods high in fiber and protein. Why? Because those foods keep you feeling full, which makes it way easier to not overeat. So we've looked at the Abraham diet with its portion control, we've talked about cutting carbs, and now intermittent fasting with its time control. They all seem completely different on the surface, right? But they are all secretly connected by one single powerful idea. And this is where it all clicks in place. The Abraham diet gets you into a deficit by controlling your portions. Low-carb diets do it by just taking a whole category of food off the table. And intermittent fasting does it by giving you less time to eat during the day.
You see, they're all just different roads that lead to the exact same destination, a calorie deficit.
So the big takeaway here isn't that one of these diets is some magic bullet. The real question is much more personal. Now that you know the secret is just a calorie deficit, the game changes. It's not about finding the best diet anymore. It's about finding the strategy that you can actually stick with and, not be miserable doing it. So which one of these tools fits your life? That's the only secret that really matters.